Alright, so recently I made two new videos talking about the Wuthering Waves system recommended specs, what devices you could use, what would be compatible. They were super short. I didn't dive super deep into everything. And today I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, show a key website that'll help you explore some options. And keep in mind, those specs from the video were from the closed beta test too, so they're not fully updated necessarily for release. Those could be different, but for now we have no information on that. Alright. So, as you go to this website, I'll have it linked below. You'll see a bunch of different processors ranked all the way down from 1 to like 167, and they'll give you a grade from A plus all the way down to D. This website's pretty useful for finding pretty good chips. It'll give you a bunch of different things. For example, let's say we click on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. You'll take a look that it gives you a CPU performance number, how it feels for gaming, the battery life. It'll show you a bunch of different benchmarks if you are interested in stuff like that. And if you go even further down, it'll show you where to buy some of these devices with the chips inside of them. And this is a public website, so this is data from other people that are adding it to the website for an overall benchmark. Now, for gaming performance, I think if you're thinking you want the best visuals, graphics for Wuthering Waves, I'd stick to somewhere around the top 28, I would say. That would be a good spot to stop. Everything in there is an A rank, so you're going to have pretty good gaming performance. Obviously, you can explore deeper into those by clicking onto the chip name. But if you're thinking, well, I don't have any of the chips in the top 28, and I don't want to buy anything in the top 28, well, you can still go down for, good gaming performance, probably to 67, the top 67. That'd still give you enough performance to feel good while playing the game. But if you're still saying, well, I don't even want to get something in the top 67, the developers do recommend the minimum with that Snapdragon 835, which is all the way down on the bottom with that C rating. So it's not the best, but it's still playable, and this is the minimum that they recommend, so no one's stopping you from using it. Now, talking optimization for Wuthering Waves, since it's running on Unreal Engine 4, it's going to need a bit of optimization for these mobile chips, just because it's so much more demanding. I know a lot of people say it really isn't, but depending on the graphics the developers add and depending on how new they are with developing in Unreal, the optimization might not be great. But if you look at what Kuro has done with the game, they have revitalized it. It looks completely different. I mean, they revamped it completely, the graphics look great, and they did that in just 9 months. So I do think they'll be able to optimize this a little bit better. But for right now, it is just struggling. I know during the beta, the Apple/iOS devices ended up just being better than Android devices. Like if you tried to play on Android, the textures were just failing to load. You'd have terrible lag and stutter when textures would pop in. But on Apple and iOS, that was completely fine. It felt smooth. So hopefully they do fix that for Android. I definitely think it needs optimization. But if you look at PGR on a different engine, they've managed to completely change that game too visually. And it feels great. The FPS feels great. It looks great. And we're just hoping for better optimization for these chips. But overall, this website's great to do your research. Keep in mind you're going to be looking at that CPU performance and the gaming performance. Those are the most important things. If you care about the benchmarks, you can look at that stuff as well. But not everybody cares about that. And we'll find out what they do optimization-wise on 5.22 and 5.23.